Hi everyone, Dom here from the Panasonic kitchen, and in this video I'm going to talk you through everything you need to do to bake sourdough bread in one of our Panasonic bread makers. So we've got our SDYR2550 model here, which is, in my opinion, the best bread maker we do. It's a really fantastic model. If you're interested in this model, do head to our online stores. Links are in the description below. You can shop direct from Panasonic and pick yourself up a brand new bread maker today. Now, when it comes to sourdough bread, anyone who's made it before knows that there's 3 stages involved in this. The first stage is making the starter, waiting for that to get ready, and then the bake itself later. So the first thing we're going to do is put all the ingredients together for the starter. So we've got here our rye flour. That's going to go in here. We've then got our natural yogurt. That's going to help give the sour taste to the sourdough. Just going to use a spoon to get the last little bit of that out. And then we're going to add our yeast. And we've got a little measuring spoon here. This actually comes with the accessories for your Panasonic bread maker. So you should have this all ready. Just fill that up to the brim, then add that, and then lastly, our water. I said lastly, I didn't mean lastly, because of course we've got half a teaspoon of salt to add in as well. And once that's all in, we need to give this a really good stir before we do anything else. So make sure all those ingredients are really well mixed together. Once you're happy with how those ingredients are starting to mix, pop the lid on, and then we can turn to our bread maker. So the SDYR2550 comes with a dedicated sourdough starter cooking program, which is fantastic. So all we need to do is select that cooking program, which is number 23. So simply press the up arrow on the control panel until we reach 23. It's a 24-hour program. Essentially what's going to happen is we're going to pop this into the bread maker, first removing the kneading blade. That's really important. Make sure the kneading blade isn't in the bread pan. And we're going to put this straight into the bread pan. And the bread maker is going to bring it up to the ideal temperature for 24 hours. So our sourdough starter is going to prove really, really nicely. So we're happy that that lid is on. We're going to pop this stood up into the bread pan, again making sure the kneading blade isn't there. Close the lid and press start. And that's going to run for 24 hours now, so we'll see you in a day's time to see how that looks. Good morning! How'd you sleep? 24 hours later, it's time to have a look at our sourdough starter. So first things first, let's open up the lid and remove the container with the starter. It's looking pretty good. You can see a little bit of bubbling on the top there. It's nearly doubled in size, which is great, so we can move on to the next stage. And the next stage is we're going to re-add our sourdough starter back into the bread maker and add some more ingredients and start the bake program. So let's get the bread pan back out of the bread maker and add the all-important kneading blade in so we can make sure it's going to get kneaded nicely. We're going to open up our sourdough starter and we're going to pour this straight into the bread pan. Try and get everything in there. Don't worry if you can't quite manage to get every last bit. There we go. Now we're going to try and add a few more ingredients. So first of all, we're going to add white bread flour. That's going to go in. Then we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 130 milliliters of water. All of that goes straight into the bread pan. I'm going to lift the lid back up and lower the bread pan back. Make sure it's nice and secure, and then close that lid. And then lastly, we're going to open this top lid because we need to add half a teaspoon of dry yeast into the yeast dispenser. So our bread maker here comes with a yeast dispenser, so you need to make sure that that gets added last and into the dispenser there. Then we're going to close that lid. Next, we need to choose the baking mode for this. Do be aware we've got a couple of baking modes that say sourdough. One is in the dough menu and the other is in the bread menu. So we're making sourdough bread rather than the dough itself, which is menu number 13. So we're going to just press the arrow until we reach number 13, which is a 5-hour bake. There's no other options you need to press or change. So once you land on 13, you're good to go. So we're going to press start, and then we'll see you in 5 hours. And just 5 short hours later, our bread maker has finished the program and our sourdough loaf should be ready. So let's take a look. Once it's finished, it will start beeping. To turn those beeps off, just need to press the red button on the control panel. Do make sure you take safety precautions. It is going to be very hot when you take it out. And just going to put that there and close the lid. And we're going to gently try and get this loaf out onto our breadboard. There we go. There we are. So don't be worried if the kneading blade is stuck in the bread. That can happen. We've been lucky with ours and it hasn't gotten stuck in. And also don't be surprised if the sourdough loaf is a little bit has a slightly smaller rise than usual. That's perfectly normal. It's a denser dough anyway, so that's to be expected. But I think ours has turned out pretty well and I'm looking forward to eating that. So that's it. That is sourdough bread in a loaf form from our bread maker here from Panasonic. If you want to find out more about this bread maker or any of our bread makers, head to our online store and you can shop direct with us today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video.